Hey everybody, welcome to the Fire It Up with CJ show. Today we're going to be talking about this book, Womb Wisdom, and we're going to be talking to one of the authors, Anaiya Sophia. So welcome, Anaiya.
Hi, CJ.
It's great to have you here. I've been doing the program now. I think I've gone through three or four transmissions with you, which is part of the program, and I have a ton of questions for you.
Wonderful.
Okay, so I wanted to talk first about your background, which I think is really related to this. And you talk about Kundalini Yoga, and you talk about Shakti, and you talk about Bhakti, which I think is related to this work. How is it related?
Uh, well, for me, they're two very different expressions of the one feminine Kundalini force.
Hmm.
So for me, Shakti is it's like a red energy. It's a thrilling, excited, passionate, uplifting, explosive, extending energy. And whereas Bhakti is more the devotion. It's the
Mm.
longing. It's that deep, deep, aching longing.
Hmm.
And it's much softer, much quieter, but by no means less powerful.
Yeah, and how are they
It's,
related to our feminine energy?
they're both feminine expressions.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, so I know that Shakti is like if it when it's drawn, it's of a feminine, it's feminine energy, it represents
That's
feminine
right.
energy. But I didn't
That's right.
realize that Bhakti as well is considered feminine expressions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And longing, that particular quality of longing, aching,
Yeah,
aching for something,
yeah,
very feminine.
yeah. I guess that is really, you don't see guys pining around for things.
You don't know. Yeah.
All right, so why is it important for us to understand those feminine energies and go into those energies? You have a really great passage in the very introduction of your book talking about how it's so societally important right now to get in those
Yeah.
energies.
Well, I got into it because I realized how masculine I had become.
Hmm.
Living in London, living on the edge, the pulsing city
Yeah.
of London and all that that brings, I realized that I'd become totally polarized.
Mm.
I had lost connection to my feminine
Hmm.
essence. My only feminine expression was kind of like blatant sexuality.
Right.
So in your face, obvious sexuality,
Yeah.
which actually isn't technically very feminine at all.
Yeah.
Feminine sexuality is more mysterious, more erotic, more enticing. I was really in your face.
I
And
love
that
it.
got me in a lot of trouble.
Okay, so you were in London, and what was the day that you thought, or was there a moment or a time, or what initiated that thought of, gosh, I don't, I need to do, I feel like I want to express this in a different way.
What would that be? I think it was one of my long-term partners actually telling me quite straight,
Hmm.
"You don't feel like a woman to me."
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Oh, gunk.
and then I think he actually said, "Do you know how to be a woman?" And do you know what, CJ? The whole of me was saying, "No, I don't."
Yeah, yeah,
And this no echoed against the emptiness inside of me.
yeah. And how did you
Yeah.
pursue after he had said that? What was your next step? Like, how did you come into this work?
Ooh, then that was the moment I threw myself head first into Kundalini Yoga.
Hmm. And why Kundalini Yoga as a way of finding that part of you?
It helped me get in touch with my emotions.
Hmm.
So it helped me go back to childhood, back to the early years, and sort of helped me sort of look down from a higher distance. So
Mm-hmm.
rather than be in the eye of the storm
Mm-hmm.
of the deeper emotions, I was able to just look down a little bit from a slightly higher plateau,
Mm.
not higher as in better, but higher as in more stable.
Yeah.
And
Right. From kind of a meta level, so you can be looking down and not
yeah,
being all tormented by your
yeah,
own
not
inner
pulled
chaos.
That exactly, exactly.
It's funny because I actually, how I came across your work was I did a meditation and I got a meditation that said I needed to explore kind of the dark recesses of life. Not like dark evil, but kind of dark,
Yes,
deep, dark womb
yes,
like.
yes.
And I talked to my husband. I said, I don't really know what this meditation means. And he said, well, I think he was reading, who's the guy, the Joseph Campbell. And he
Oh,
said, well, Joseph Campbell
yes.
has this great passage about womb, and it's about going into that womb energy, the primordial place where we're all created. And I said,
Yeah,
yes, I'm afraid of that place.
yeah,
and I said,
yeah,
and I said, wow, I don't know why I'm afraid of that place, but I am afraid of that place, and I
yeah.
don't even know what that even means. And so
Yeah.
I thought, well, and I did all this research, and that's how I came across your book. Womb
Right,
wisdom.
right.
So, how is all this stuff interconnected? What is womb wisdom? How is it related to our primordial energy? And I actually like to look up what primordial energy was because I was like, I'm not sure what this is. I think it's the moment when life is created is the primordial energy.
Yeah. Primordial for me is kind of like a wordless, pre-verbal understanding of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's those moments where you get it, but you can't speak about it.
Yeah.
And if you're with another who has got it, you look at each other and go, yeah. But it is impossible to wrap words around it. And so
Yeah.
for me, it's kind of like a deep, mystical revelation or
Mm-hmm.
breakthrough or encounter.
Mm.
So deep, so mature, so ancient that you just kind of go, whoa.
And so, what's your experience when you go into that ancient, deep place? What happens to you experientially when you do that?
For me, it's expansion. It's
Mm.
widening, expanding, dropping, sinking into, becoming one with. So it's not what I would call an enlightening experience.
Yeah.
It's the other way around.
Right.
Deepening,
Yeah.
descension, dropping.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
interesting because a lot of the spiritual practices they focus on this,
yeah,
you know,
totally. Yeah,
connecting up to the light and I'm guilty of focusing mostly this way versus
right.
this way because
Yeah,
this way is what we usually in our minds connote with hell, right? It's like hell,
yes.
darkness, evil
Yeah,
going
yeah,
down to like, whatever. So,
yeah.
what is a different way of relating to that since you've actually seemed to like that place, that
Yeah, I
primordial
do.
place and feel
Well, traditionally, this is known as the mystical path, the mystical way.
hmm
So mystical is descension.
hmm
And back in the days when, there was witchcraft and the words evil and the words occult, these were all words just, I feel, to just keep us away from it,
right,
to keep us a little bit afraid of it.
right.
Because it's the feminine again, but it's the feminine
Mm.
in her most unknowable, wordless way.
I see. So even like in the yin yang sign, the
Yes,
woman, the yin is black and the
yes,
male is white. And
yeah.
so it's this kind of and it's one of the areas that I think that we actually haven't really explored that much,
Oh,
and very much in terms of and it's funny because I was talking to this guy that and I have a relationship with the East West bookstore, which is a spiritual bookstore here.
yeah, I know the
And,
one.
and so I said, well, I think we should be, I have talked to this really wonderful person, she was doing stuff about, embracing your feminine power. And he said, oh, that sounds sacral. Nope.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
thought, and it was really interesting his reaction. And I wonder if that's because that kind of sacral energy, again, it's kind of considered like witchcraft or
yes,
that kind of thing.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
very,
yeah, yeah.
but, having read your book, it's very different than that.
Yeah, I do. Well, both of us, we try our best to wrap words around it.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, when you have this mystical encounter, you're often left with your jaw just dropped,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing what has happened, but you know something inherently good has happened.
Mm.
And that tremendous transformation is occurring.
Mm. What was your
So
first experience with that energy? I mean, I know it's
I,
beyond words, but if you could help us explain, like, kind of what was your first experience?
I remember very well. It was a dark night of the soul,
Mm-hmm.
definitely a dark night. And I remember calling forth Mary Magdalene on
Mm-hmm.
the inside. And of course, she appeared in all of her beauty. And I said, Mary, as much as I love you, and as much as you've helped me along the path, I need to meet your teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Where I am, you feel too young and too pure to
Yeah.
know what I'm knowing. I'm on my knees.
Right.
I'm on my knees and I've got grit in my fingernails. I want to meet your teacher.
Mm.
Then from behind her came the Holy Sophia. Oh,
Mm. Oh, yeah.
and that's a little bit like meeting the Black Madonna.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you have the beautiful Virgin in front of you, and you say, okay, I need to meet the one behind you now.
Yes.
Out of the darkness, she appears.
Wow.
Powerful, ancient, feminine expression. And you
Mm.
look at her and you go, okay, yeah, you know this place.
Did it feel
You know
scary?
this
It seems
place.
like to me, and again, I think it's how we're trained. You know, when we go to the movies, there's this kind of ominous, pounding, scary kind of music
Yeah,
when those kind of things happen. But how did it
yeah.
feel for you? Did it feel scary, or what did it feel like when you were in her presence?
There was a very strong emotion of uh, awe,
Hmm.
but not awe as in wonder, like, woo,
Yeah.
but kind of like, whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little step back here, but not from fear, but
Yeah.
from like overwhelming sense of pure resonant power. There
Mm.
was like a resonance in the chest.
Mm.
It's like
Your
truth.
experience was it, or her? You could feel that she had this energy that she was
She
resonating.
had this energy, and it made me tremble.
Wow.
There was like a
Interesting.
baseline to her presence.
Wow. Oh, how
Yeah,
fascinating. And that's
yeah,
really, and it seems like that's really where we want to get to, right? As women, if we
yeah,
were to fully embrace and be empowered in that way, isn't that
yeah.
where we want to get to? That kind of,
I would say so.
I don't know. So it felt like a heart power. What else did it feel like?
Crone energy, an
Mm,
elder. This was an elder. And
mm.
yet, in a moment's notice, she could shapeshift into a maiden.
Wow.
She could be the most fairest maiden, and as well as the most primordial ancient mother.
Mm, mm. Interesting.
Yeah, she took care of everything.
So how did that change your life after meeting her?
I knew I was protected.
Mm. Oh,
I knew
interesting.
that, yeah, I knew that there was a great, great force with me.
Wow.
And whether it was an aspect of me, but it's like there was an inherent strength and protection now with me.
And her name is Sophia, this goddess, or what is it?
That's what I call her.
Okay. Okay. There's
Yeah.
not a
And
formal name.
at the time I didn't know because as I said, I asked to meet Mary Magdalene's teacher.
Right. Right. So some people may call it Mother Earth or Gaia or
Yeah,
all those
yeah,
different
yeah,
names that people have.
that's
Pachamama.
right. Yeah,
So, but
that's right. Yeah,
is that the energy? Is that what you feel like you
correct.
encountered? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I went to Peru and the ladies introduced me to Pachamama, that's when I realized, oh, this is the same thing, but
Yeah.
I'm calling it the Holy Sophia.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about the womb. First of
Hmm.
all, just some real basics, like what is the womb? Because it's not only a physical part in your body, it's a
Yeah.
location, it's a birthing. I mean, how do you define what a womb is, since it's womb wisdom?
I say it's a birthing center
Mm-hmm.
for physical and non-physical offspring,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the woman's royal throne of power.
Mm.
So it's her seat.
Mm.
This is her seat, her throne. This is her center.
Yes. And when you talk about it, it's a triangular area. If you were to place your finger on your belly buttons and your
That's
fingers down,
right.
it's this triangular area.
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
what the womb is, and it extends from your belly button down to kind of a pointing to your vaginal area. Is that
that's right. That's right.
okay?
And even if you've had a hysterectomy, that womb power is still there.
Oh, that's
It
interesting.
doesn't, oh yes, it does not get taken away because of surgery.
Ah, because I had a C-section, and I was wondering, like, oh, I
Right.
wonder if that actually
Yes.
affects that womb area, because it's just basically a slicing of that
Yeah.
area,
I mean, emotionally, it would affect you.
right?
And this is what I say to the ladies who have hysterectomy. If you can grieve the authenticity of that surgery,
Hmm.
then your womb power gets switched back on again.
Ah,
So if you've
interesting.
denied it, if you've said, oh, yeah, it was nothing, hysterectomy is nothing,
Right.
it was a quick in out
Yeah,
operation.
you man up and you're like, it's no big deal. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, hang on a minute, ladies, let's just take a pause right there.
Yes.
And then the grief comes, and then they realize, oh my God, it's still here.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so the womb is in this physical location, and you're saying it's the place of birthing both physically and then also kind of
Non-physical.
non-physical birthing.
Yeah, so all creative
Okay.
expressions.
Okay. And in your book, you talk about so the womb, and a lot of the work that you have in your transmissions, the womb is then connected to something like the web of life. It's
That's
connected to
right.
the primordial. Tell us a little bit about how that whole thing works. Like if you were to try to, it's kind
I
of
see it.
crazy.
I see it like a spider's web.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, even me and you right now,
Mm-hmm.
I feel our wombs are connecting, even though we're on Skype and we're like
Interesting.
completely
Yeah.
miles apart.
Right.
So I see when two women come together, two, three, four, 10 women come together, they all carry like a little node of the spider's web with
Hmm.
like a little. This is how I see it
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
and a silver thread. So when women come into close proximity, they actually connect. And when that feminine energy is really flowing abundantly again, kindness, love, nurturing, holding, community spirit, that kind of web opens up. So
Hmm.
whenever you're with a bunch of good hearted, kind, loving ladies, everybody feels that.
Hmm.
Everybody feels that. They feel safe. They feel looked after. They feel cared for.
Mm-hmm.
They feel joyful, celebratory, dancing, playing.
Right.
That's feminine energy. When
Yeah.
embodied women come together.
And you make the point of embodied because most women are not embodied. They're
Yeah,
in their heads, not in
yeah,
their physical body,
that's
feeling
right.
physical sensations, feeling their
Yeah,
emotions. They're just kind of this
yeah,
floating head floating around.
yeah. In the head, being masculine, competing, yeah, accumulating, being very focused.
Right.
Even when I say the word focus, my face goes
Right.
focused. you know, my, all my energy goes up here.
Yeah.
And I used to be like that, CJ.
Oh, I'm still like that. That's why I'm reading the I'm reading the book.
Right.
So
Yeah.
then this womb is actually all women have this kind of energetic connection both to each other, but then also to something else more sacred, right? What
Absolutely.
the things that you're studying? What are we what is this womb? What is this womb connected to?
Well, I would say at the moment it's connected to the divine feminine, which is most definitely having a renaissance, a resurgence. She is coming back in
Mm-hmm.
full. expression. And
Mm.
I feel it's us ladies who are really pioneering that return
Mm. Hmm.
because of the womb, because of the willingness in the heart, the longing, longing for a more deeper, intimate relationship, longing to know the deeper mystery of sexuality, longing for organic childbirth,
Mm-hmm.
longing for better schools, better nutrition. This is all feminine stuff.
Mm. Hmm.
So I feel our wombs are totally being linked to the big womb. It's this birth, this the birth of the new paradigm. It's
And
coming through us
are
ladies.
men not connected to that?
Guys with a lot of feminine energy are feeling it first.
Huh.
So the
Okay.
poets and artists and singers and dancers of this world, the
Right.
guys who are sensitive,
Right.
loving, kind, touchy-feely,
Right.
they're also feeling it too. But the alpha males, I
Not
don't
so
think they're
much.
getting it yet, but they
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
They will. She's coming for everyone.
So it says in the book that the mysteries of creation are encoded within each woman's body. Is it through the womb, or is there, what does it mean to have something encoded within your body?
Oh, encoded is like a piece of you that gets activated by a catalyzing force
Hmm.
initiation.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a good one for ladies is kind of like
Mm-hmm.
a lover who has a profound effect on you.
Hmm.
Somehow he or she has unlocked your codes.
Hmm.
So a lover can do it, a deep spiritual experience can do it, a near death experience can do it,
Mm-hmm.
a great loss can do it.
Hmm.
So basically, it's like something so powerful that it comes into your everyday life, totally sends you spiraling backwards,
Mm-hmm.
either in joy or in suffering, and a deeper part of you gets revealed.
Okay, so it's almost, I'm actually mapping us to um, uh, Junging talks about we have all these different parts of ourselves that are hidden or
Yes,
expressed. And so
that's right.
that's one way of like a psychological
Yeah,
way of saying that we actually
yeah,
have parts of ourselves, or in your case, it would be codes that are actually embedded
yes,
within ourselves
that's
that
right.
someone comes and catalyzes. So
That's
one of
right.
me, I
And
may
it,
be
I
like
feel,
a, sorry,
no, no, I was going to say, I feel it's all predestined.
right.
Everything has a
Oh,
little time delay switch.
right. Oh, I see. So interesting. So
Yeah.
the way that Jung would say is that we all have, we are fully given all these different parts of ourselves. And
Yes.
then as a child, we learn how to turn on and off these little switches so that because we feel comfortable or not comfortable expressing all parts of ourselves.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
if I'm like the naughty sexual woman, right? It's like, oh, I better flip that off. If I'm going to
Yeah.
be, a good woman, I have to flip, my sexual
Yeah.
part off. I have to flip all these
Yes.
little switches off. And so it seems like what you do is you act when the presence of someone can activate that,
Yes.
or a
Yes.
situation can activate those
That's
parts of
true.
you that are like, wait a second, I don't feel good about that anymore, which,
Yeah.
maybe the kind of quiet, demure Asian would not say anything, but then all of a sudden, like,
Yes.
flip. Okay, so
Yeah.
so we're all have these codes inside of us, and that
Yes.
it's really about. And so in your program, where you have a program where you read through a meditation that describes something, and then also, as I understand it, is a transmission of those codes. How does that work?
Basically, I do my best to get into the energy
Hmm.
of the codes. So
Okay.
if there's one called the Cry of the Beloved, there's the Black Madonna, there's
Right.
all these different archetypes.
Uh-huh.
So I spend time before I record the transmission totally getting into that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I speak the transmission from that place.
Ah, okay, you're like channeling
And
that
my,
energy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my feeling is if I am that, you will hear it and become that yourself. So it's a bit like
Ah,
tag team.
Yes, yeah. So it's like someone
Yeah.
inspires, or maybe you listen to a lecture and someone really inspires you to
Yes.
kind of like, in whatever way that part of you gets activated or inspired. So you
Yeah.
totally go embody that energy, and by
Yeah.
embodying that energy and putting it on the MP3,
That's right.
it helps that go that part of me inside go, oh, wait a second,
Yeah.
wait, I have that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. 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 That's it.
Ah,
That's
okay.
it.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then what is it that when I was talking to someone in your office, they were saying, so you're actually channeling energies too, right? Then afterwards, you do an MP3 as part of the
Yeah.
transmission so that you can activate those aspects of yourself. And then
Yes.
afterwards, there's an hour where you just lay flatline it and are still. What's
Yeah.
happening during that period? And it's at 8 o'clock at every wherever you are. So I can be in Seattle or New
Yeah.
York or London, and it's still 8 o'clock. What are you doing something, or is that you're just like what's happening on your end when that happens?
I'm repeating your name. So basically, in the ancient Egyptian mysteries,
Hmm.
there is a sound body. So the sound body is the sound of your name. So
Hmm.
for instance, if I say the name Mick Jagger,
Hmm.
you see him, don't you?
Yeah.
You see him, that's his light body. So
Oh,
those words, Mick Jagger, creates an impression inside of you.
right.
Dancing on stage, doing all that
Yeah.
business.
Yes.
That's his light body. You're looking at his light body right now.
Right.
So that's what I do. I take the name of the person and I just repeat it. I just hold that impression inside of me. And I'm praying. So praying that this one can open up, receive the transmission, unobstructed, undistracted, at the highest levels, blah, blah, blah. Just holding that gentle
And who
space.
are you praying to?
Mary Magdalene, Yeshua. So
Ah,
for me, it's always the Christ lineage.
okay. So you're
Not in the
praying to those,
religious, not in the religious context.
right?
It's freer than that. It's
Uh,
freer than the religion.
okay.
It's kind of them at their essence.
Okay, so you take those, do you, when you're doing it, are you calling upon the same people each time, or are you calling upon specific people that may be helpful energies for whatever is
Yeah.
happening?
Always the Christ. And
Okay.
for me, the Christ is both of them.
Is Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ?
Yes. So the
Ah, okay.
masculine and the feminine Christ, the masculine and the feminine make the Christ.
Ah, okay, got it.
Consciousness, the
Okay.
Christ stream.
Ah, okay. So in the transmission,
Yeah.
um, I'm listening to the tape, so that part of me goes like, "Wait a second, hello, I can relate to that." And then
Yeah.
you're praying and saying, "Oh, Christ energy, please help CJ or whomever is
Yes.
doing that
Yeah.
to remove, to heal any amygdala wounds or open up a
Yeah.
karmic lock or okay." So
That's
that's
it.
what's
That's
happening.
it.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. And then when
So it's kind of like standing at a distance, not really asking anything for you because you and the connection is going to do the work.
right.
So you and whoever your team are on the inside, whether you're a Christian, New Ager, Hindu,
Right.
Muslim,
Yeah.
your people on the inside.
All right, got it. So I'm not if I'm like,
Do it.
hey, I don't relate to Jesus Christ. I'm not relating. It's like I'm connecting to whatever those energies may be, like the
That's it.
Buddha or Kuan Yin or whatever. I'm actually
That's
connecting
it.
to those energies,
Yeah.
and they're sending with your prayers, like, please, help CJ,
Yes.
go through and heal her amygdala wounds
Yeah.
or whatever.
That's it.
Yeah,
I
and
guess
then that
it's like a midwife,
okay, got a
kind of like
midwife.
third person, just like managing the space.
Ah,
So keep
interesting.
sabotaging agents at bay, keep the distractions at bay, keep
Ah,
resistance at bay. I'm
okay,
just
got it.
managing the space.
Wow. Okay. So you're sitting there praying on my behalf during 8 o'clock when you're in Israel. In that case, like tonight, I'm going to get one. So at 8 o'clock
Yes.
my time. So are
Yeah,
you waking up at like 3 in the morning praying or what?
I will do.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. You should be charging way more for these transmitters. God. Okay, so then you're praying on behalf of that person,
Yeah,
and then it says for these tapes is that afterwards you can listen over and over again, and it
that's right.
activates those codes.
That's right.
Um, so in the transmission on your end, you're praying, so you're kind of
Yes.
holding the
Just that
space.
one first time.
Yeah, that first time. And then when I
Yeah,
listen to it each time, it's kind of me using that energy to kind of pull out whatever is
that's
coming.
right. Once you make your first connection, you've set up a route.
Huh. Oh.
So I don't need to know about the next one. You've done it. You've made your route. You've made your pilgrimage.
Oh, I see. Oh,
And
interesting.
then it just builds and builds and builds. And then the next thing you know, your path to that place within you is absolutely solid. You know the
Wow.
path. You know exactly where to find this energy. You can draw on it with
Oh,
your
right. Yeah, it's like
work.
I've driven from Seattle to Boston. I have a route. I know how to get there. So like once
Exactly.
you are my birthing mom, showing me, helping me
Yeah,
get to Boston, I can get there on my own. So I can
that's
listen to
right.
those tapes. And when would one listen to those tapes? Is it when they suspect that something's happening? How do you know which of the MP3s to listen
Yes.
to?
When you can feel that discomfort bubbling away on the inside.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see. Okay, then
yeah.
you
It's like,
listen to.
oh God, I need to lie down and do a transmission.
Oh,
There's
interesting.
stuff coming up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so I want, just so people aren't confused with this, we've gone deep end into these transmissions without even knowing what you're trying to heal. So,
right.
so what is it that, so in the womb, I was fascinated to hear this, that in your womb, each time you make love with someone, maybe you've had a physical trauma, like you were talking about either an operation or a
Yes.
C-section, or maybe an abortion or a stillbirth, all those kinds of things. Anything related to your womanhood, when you got your period, how you think about
Yes.
women, how you think about your mom,
That's it.
all those things are stored,
Yeah,
boom, right in there, right?
totally. All of those feelings are in there.
Ah,
So
okay.
womb is not a place of thought. Womb is not necessarily a place of visual memory.
Okay.
Womb is a place of feeling memory,
Ah,
feeling and feeling memories.
okay. So we
Oh,
have
yeah.
all these feeling memories of, oh, when I got
Yeah,
my period, blah, blah, blah happened, and I felt
that's right.
vulnerable, or whatever those feelings may have been,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah,
they're lodged right in that
that's right.
womb.
Yeah.
Why is it important to clear those feelings out?
Because you have a child, that's where your baby gets made. So
Ah,
that's how things get passed on.
okay.
You
Not
see,
only a literal
it's made
child, but
in them.
anything we create gets passed on.
Correct. Physical and non-physical offspring. And of course, you got
Oh,
to remember this is where our male comes in
right,
with sexuality.
right.
So every time he comes in, he's just going to stir that up again.
Ah,
And
interesting.
that's why we can have little tiffs and arguments after sex.
Hmm. Oh, interesting because
Yeah,
interesting. So anytime you make love with a man, he basically, whether he's wearing a condom or not, it's just an energetic thing. When he comes
correct.
in,
Yeah.
his what is it? I can't remember his imprint.
Lingam. Lingam.
No, 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 not that. But you
Oh,
said like his imprint or something like that. Oh,
that's right. Yeah, imprint. Yeah.
yeah. So his imprint, his energies get commingled with your energies. And what
Yeah.
aspect of his energies getting commingled? Is it like his karma?
No,
Like,
it's the emotions again. So when we make love
oh,
with a man, the
yeah,
emotional condition that he is in and the emotional condition of the environment
right.
goes into the womb.
Oh,
So if
that's
you're making
fascinating.
love with a drunk guy in a toilet, in the back of the nightclub,
Yes.
that's not a good move. It's not a good move at all.
Right, because there's someone who's, completely checked out, not emotionally available, using you as
Yeah,
an object. And so
yeah.
your womb is like, I don't feel good about that.
No way. No
I see.
way.
And if I
Yeah.
have inside that commingled, so I have the man coming in with whatever emotions that they may be coming in, and the womb is
Yes.
actually picking up those.
Yes,
emotions and having feelings about those things. In addition,
absolutely.
yeah, in addition to all the other feelings it had about other ways that
Yeah,
I've abused myself. And
yes,
so I see. So clearing out, one of the things that you have is clearing out the womb from all
yeah,
the physical trauma, lovers
yeah,
that you may have made love in an unconscious way.
that's right.
So when you're doing that transmission, is that what's happening? Is it's kind of clearing out?
Yes, 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 yes. You're connecting to the feminine. You're connecting to the feminine in your own self, which activates the womb, which warms it up, which makes it more welcome,
Mm-hmm.
loving, welcoming, warmer, more embracing. And this will start shifting things.
So you're not
Because when they're
necessarily,
up here,
yes.
wombs are actually cold.
Ah,
They're cold and they're sort of like barren places. There's no presence down there.
right.
The only
Interesting.
presence is like once a month when we go, oh no, my period's just started.
Yeah.
Boring. Yeah, that's the only time we think about it.
Right. Right.
So when we start to come down, in willingness,
Mm-hmm.
we can start to embody the womb and start kind of shaking and breathing off all of that accumulated stuff.
So it's not that in most psychological work you go and you figure out, oh, I had this awful physical trauma or I may have gotten sexually abused and you address that and you may pull out the energy related to that. It's not that so much as you're warming and the womb itself will release
Yeah,
that energy. It's not that
I
you're
would say it's both.
okay, a little bit of
Because
both.
what you just described, that's like a masculine technique.
Yes.
Navigating, looking back, identifying, strategizing, pulling up the emotion. Good.
Right.
Not saying that's a bad trait. No, no, that's a necessary trait. We
Right.
have to know ourselves.
Right.
We have to have that navigatory consciousness. But we also need the other part. This is what I'm talking about. The other part being the feminine, which
Uh,
is just to sink down into that space.
Yeah, and so here's what I'm envisioning after reading your book. It talks about this the womb being a container and
Mm,
kind of creating a safety container for all of this work to happen. So the male cannot do his work if it's kind of a chaotic environment. The male
yes.
healing energy is hard for it to operate if it has
Yeah,
chaos inside. So if the womb is just
that's right.
this strong, stable, warming presence,
That's
it
it.
helps that happen. Is that
Yes, that's perfect.
I'm just making up stuff, but I
Oh,
think
but no, I can see you. I can see you. You're not just picking it up, you're embodying it too.
yeah.
You're
Well, I'm
making
trying.
certain movements that are telling me
Yeah.
she's getting it.
Okay, good. So this part of healing it, let's say that I have, I've had as I was reading, you have a long list of things that, could possibly be traumatic to the womb. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I have all of these. I'm going to be
Yeah.
doing that transmission like 5 times a day." Like how how long until how does one know that you're starting to heal some of these
Um,
things?
mm, um, how do you know? God, it's just a feeling. You
Yeah.
feel comfortable in your body. Your body becomes like an armchair. Comfortable,
Mm.
reliable, dependable. The
Mm.
tension has gone.
Okay.
Um, I feel more
Right.
stable, settled, comfortable.
Right. So it's that real grounded, kind of
Yeah,
grounded feeling of not this
yeah,
kind of like, hey, how are you, girlfriend? Like that's,
yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of energy. It's not that kind of energy, but this kind
yeah,
of, like a crone, like you were saying. It's
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. And I
wise
have
old
this
crone.
feeling that if a person or life was to push me suddenly without me being aware, I actually wouldn't move. I
Oh,
kind of go,
interesting.
oh, who are you? I'm less flighty.
Interesting. Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
really about kind of grounding yourself,
yeah,
embodied in the body,
yeah,
grounded, and kind of
yeah,
not kind of helter skelter, flying all
That's
over the
right.
place in the ethers, which is generally my go-to place is floating around in the ethers. So this will be good for me, but I'm not there because I can tell you that I'm floating around in the ethers at any given moment. Okay,
Yeah.
so so you talk about chakras, three energetic locks, and there's a hara lock, the womb lock, and a throat lock. It's the first
Yes.
time I've ever even heard of any of those things. What are they and how do they work?
Well, this is going back to yogic philosophy.
Hmm.
So apparently, us humans, we have these locks in place to keep us at a certain level, to
Hmm.
keep us kind of like, not asking too many questions, um, just being like a productive race.
Hmm.
This is what yogic philosophy says to
Yeah.
us. And the yogis, their mission is to unlock these locks
Hmm.
so that the yogi can reach the fullness of the human design being.
Hmm. Okay.
And this is what those three locks are: one in the womb, one in the hara, one in the throat.
Where
We've,
is
we've also got another one right at the top of the head as well.
what's the hara? I know where the womb is. I know where the throat lock is. And where's the hara?
The hara is like the male version of the womb. So the dantian,
Oh yeah, the
this,
downtown.
the
Oh,
center
yes.
in martial arts. So the
Yeah.
power center of the masculine.
That's so fascinating because I was going to ask you that earlier. So in Dantian and Eastern modalities and martial arts, I talk about your Dantian, which is centered around your belly button, and that's kind of supposed
Yes,
to be the seat of your power.
that's
But what's
right.
interesting is that for women, that's not where it is. It's
No,
actually in your womb,
yeah, that's correct.
which is a major aha because you have all these women in martial arts like focusing on their Dantian. Why?
Yeah, it doesn't exist. We don't have one. Why on earth would we focus on it? It's not there.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Well, I think it's funny because everything is so swayed towards male-oriented culture that we don't even
Yes,
know, as women, we don't even know that the power center that we have is actually our womb, not our dantian.
yes, that's right.
That's kind of shocking to me. Okay,
Yeah.
so these locks, once you unlock them, I just imagine it's like a water faucet where it's like shut off or turned on.
Yes,
Is that
that's
how it
right.
happens? Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And for me, in my being, I felt them more as swirling vortexes.
Mm.
So I'd kind of like feel my body and it'd be like neutral, nothing much going on. And then after an awakening, oh yeah, it's kind of like this whirlpool
Yes, I've
of
felt that energy
constant,
before. Before it feels like
yeah,
if it's like this, it's like this. It
yeah,
kind of feels like this swirling motion. If I were to like mimic on the outside what it feels like, it's like this.
yeah, yeah,
So you feel that from once it's unlocked. So it's not like it's not an always on position. It's a position that you can turn on and off.
correct.
I see.
Yes,
Okay, got it.
yeah.
So if you were to turn on your unleash your room lock, what would that feel like and why would you do that?
I do that when I'm holding space in workshops.
Ah.
So I actually physically go into the room by myself, stand in the center, do some breathing and praying, open the womb, slowly draw back to the edge of the room, and imagine that I have cast a great big giant net. That's the
Ah.
size of the room. And as everyone comes in, they sit in that field. And I'm sort
Interesting.
of like taking care of them, like a great big
Mm.
mother.
So it's like a
Gracious
holding, you're
mother.
creating like you're opening up that chakra, taking that energy from within you and and surrounding everything else around you.
Yeah.
And how is that different than your hara or throat energy or even your heart energy?
Mm. I see the heart energy as golden. I
Golden?
see, yeah, golden. And I see the womb energy as black.
Hmm.
Hara and throat, I have no idea. I haven't even contemplated those
Right.
things. But
Okay.
it's deep. It's like if I was to hold people in my heart space, that would be quite buoyant and quite joyful
Yes.
and playful. But if I hold them in the womb, it's kind of quite sobering. It's like,
I
oh,
absolutely know what you mean because I have I think I mostly come from here,
yeah,
the
yeah,
heart space because I'm kind of like a gigantic puppy 9 out of 10 times.
all right,
And my girlfriend, she's in her 80s, and when I talk to her, she'll get to when I'm kind of in this puppy place, she'll just look
yeah,
at me and I'll be like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just like that that encounter that you had with
yeah.
Sophia. We're like, okay, I know enough. I can't do this anymore, whatever I'm doing, because
You got to
you're
switch that
looking me.
button
Yeah, it's like
off.
looking me straight. She'll look at me and she'll go, "No, CJ," and I'm
Yeah,
like, oh. Can't be messing around anymore. This is a
yeah,
time where I have to truly like you said, drop in and like what is going on. Stop dancing
yeah,
around in this fun heart place.
yeah,
Tell me, that's not
yeah.
or she'll say like, you know, honey, you can't let that happen again. I'm like, oh, but it's that
Yeah.
place.
She sounds
That
like a good friend to
she
have.
is. She's a very, very dear friend, and
Yeah,
now I know because I know the energy that you're talking about. She just inhabits that place,
yeah. That's
and
she
it's
embodies it.
yeah, she really
Yeah,
does embody that,
yeah,
and a lot of people refer to her as a mother. They're like, "You're like my mother,"
yes.
because she has that kind of come to Mary. I was gonna say come to Jesus moment, but come to Mary where like
Yeah.
there's no futzing around. Come to your
No.
truth, and I'm holding you in a safe place, but tell me what's going on, like that kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like
That's
that.
it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And now I get it. Like I have a personified version of this person that I can see. Now, how is
yeah,
the womb energy and the heart energy connected? Because you're saying one is black and one is gold. But how,
yeah.
as a woman, these are the two. One is the devotional, and maybe one
Yes,
is the Shakti raw power.
definitely, definitely. Heart is Bhakti, the devotion.
Yeah.
Womb Shakti. For me, the womb is like the anchor, so to keep on loving. So it's kind of like
Mm.
courageous love. So
Mm.
I used to be a little bit on off with my love.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, I don't love you anymore because you've just upset me.
Right.
Whereas the womb, that sobriety, that maturity kicks in, and you
Um,
can rest in the womb and carry on loving from a deeper, quieter place.
mm.
You know when you got to just like dig in there and just
Yeah.
keep loving, keep on allowing,
Right.
keep on turning up, showing up, being willing. And
Right.
without that, you can just flip off and go, oh, relationship ended.
Right.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Bye.
Whatever. You're gone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Whereas the deeper part says, "Oh, oh, honey,
yeah. Dig in. We got
yeah,
work to
there's
do.
something. There's something. This is if my girlfriend. She'd say, oh, honey, there's something underlying that. There's
Yeah,
something going on that you need to
yeah.
explore. That
That's it.
reaction. That
That's it.
whatever. That's not. And she'll
Yes.
say, there's no whatever. She is a dear, dear friend. But you know what's interesting is one of the things that you mentioned in your book that I think is really true is that when you move into this place, there is a sense of, oh my gosh, like I didn't even realize that this part of
Yes.
me was in me. And it's
Yeah.
really lovely. Like I'm enjoying life more. I'm enjoying
Yes.
like the small pleasures. Like the smell of a cucumber spray on my face. I was having a facial. I'm like, oh my God, this is heavenly. Where before I
Yeah.
wouldn't have allowed myself to even, it's like, when's this facial over? Did you get my pores clean? Where now I'm just like, just kind of engrossing in the bodily delights, or I
Yes.
had a soup that had mint and peas, and I was like, oh my God, this is the most amazing soup. Where I would
Yeah.
have just, I'm eating, I needed to go to the next meeting, but instead it's just slowing down and kind of enjoying
That's
those
it.
things. It's a really wonderful time, actually. So
Yeah.
these are the little small baby steps that I've taken so far.
Beautiful. I'm loving this.
Yeah.
This is it. This is it.
Yeah, so I've
Yeah.
enjoyed it. So tell us about your website if people want to actually do one of these transmissions and your trainings.
Okay, so the website is my name,
Hmm.
anayasophia.com.
Hmm.
There's plenty on there to interact with. articles, videos,
There is.
interviews, yeah, loads, and always being updated all the
Yeah.
time. And you can sign up for my monthly love letter
Hmm.
of interesting things that are happening. It's all there.
Okay. All right. Tell
Yeah,
us how to
and
spell.
I'm a very strong Facebooker as well.
Okay. And
So I go to Facebook every day, give the latest two
oh,
penny.
okay. So it's
Yeah,
a Anaiya Sophia.
yes,
Spell it
Anaiya Sophia.
Anaiya
Yes,
Sophia.
Sophia.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Dot
come.
com.
Yeah,
Okay, and then also your Facebook page is the same.
same name.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've
Okay.
various online courses and 9 month trainings. You can go in as deep or as surface level as you like,
Yeah,
whatever
and
you feel ready for.
I went to the website and it is full, like you said, it is full of information. I mean, if you were low on resources and you just wanted to try a couple things, there's a ton
Yeah,
of free work. It's
yeah,
very generous, actually. I mean, you're
yeah.
offering,
Most of it is donations,
yeah.
so
So,
money is not the issue.
right. So
It's all there for
people
you,
donate whatever they can donate. If they can
whatever they
afford
can.
it, then buy the course and then,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for putting this body of work together. It's a beautiful body of work, and I love listening to your voice.
Thank
Those
you.
meditations on your MP3 are just beautiful. So and now to actually put your beautiful face with the whole thing, it's just quite
Oh,
lovely.
bless you.
Yeah. So
Thank
thank you
you,
so much.
TJ, for such a wonderful range of questions. Really beautifully put together.
Oh,
I
thank you.
love the mind.
Oh, good.
I'm a real Jungian fan myself. But anyone with a brilliant mind totally turns me on.
Good.
And you have totally turned me on.
Oh, good. Good. Well, good. Now my feminine energy is working on other women. I like that. It's funny because I actually have some friends of mine that are lesbians, and I go to their party, and no women are attracted to me at all, and then I get
Right.
seriously offended. So now, thank
Yes.
you, thank you.
Oh,
I'm attractive to women too. So Anaiya Sophia, we're talking about her book, Womb Wisdom. Thank you again so much, especially since I know it's like 8 o'clock there or 9 now.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Blessings to you. Thank you so much.
You too, CJ.
Okay. Bye bye.
It's been my honor.
Okay. Bye bye.
Night, night. Bye.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show and love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.